Hey everyone, Simon here. Today I'm going to be doing a compatibility of two world-class royal couples and showing you the power of love and how it takes different shapes and forms for different people. So let's dive right in. Before I do, I want to announce that in fact, I just this morning created a membership channel. So those of you who would like to get a little bit of extra content, stuff that I'm not going to be posting to my main channel, stuff on politics, Bitcoin, or diving deep into spiritual subjects like mantras and Sanskrit and so forth, and compatibility, right? So if you want to check compatibility of any particular couple, um, I will be looking at your suggestions as members, and the higher the membership level, the you get first dibs. But I will be looking at all the comments. So come on board. I already have a video uploaded there, and looking forward to seeing you. So, having said that, let's dive into the analysis, and I think your mind is gonna be blown. I can't wait to show you this. Okay. So first of all, you'll notice that we changed the URL. It's not Delano.com, it's Pro Delano, right? Because this is professional software for astrologers and matchmakers. You can tell so much about a couple, their relationship, how long it might last, the odds against them, how hard they have to work, uh, and the gifts they have, and particular remedies you may suggest, and so forth. So this is the complete professional software, and we're constantly working to make it better. And I'm going to show you two of the major upgrades we've made recently. So let's dive in. Let's go to the dashboard, and I'm going to pull up the charts of Rosalind Carter and Jimmy Carter. All right. And I'm also going to pull up the charts of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. Now you're going to say, well, Rosalind, they're not a royal couple. Well, in America, we don't have royalty, but they were the president and the first lady. And Mrs. Rosalind Carter recently passed, which led me to look at her chart and to analyze why they had, I think it was a 50 plus years loving, deep relationship. And to contrast that with the relationship of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, which is quite different and yet also highly successful. All right, so let's dive right in. So the first thing you'll see in Delano, I'm actually going to point you right down to this. We now have a total relationship score. This covers everything from everything, just everything. And it combines it into one score so that at a snapshot you can see. Now, you might say, well, how is that different from the star rating? The star rating is a slightly different algorithm, and it looks at it from a different point of view. But the total relationship score is the most comprehensive view. And as you can see, this couple has 96%, which is crazy good. It's crazy good. It means that they will not have to do a lot of painful work. It means that their compatibility is so strong that it will take care of a lot of the normal bumps and bruises that come along in relationships. However, if you pull yours up and it's not 96%, take heart, because anything above 50% is good. Okay, first rule of thumb. Obviously, the higher above 50% it is, the better. So anything above 70% is really good. All right. Now, if it's below 50%, it means, or around 50% or less, it just means that this relationship is going to require more work. You're going to take things personally. There are going to be difficulties that you have to overcome. Doesn't mean you can't overcome them, but this score measures how easily the relationship flows. Okay. That's your total compatibility. The second thing we've added, and we're continuing to add useful algorithms to this. And this is incorporating dozens and dozens and dozens of different measurements, different techniques, both Western astrology, synastry techniques, Eastern Vedic techniques, and everything in between. Stuff that I've come up with, stuff from KP, stuff from different modes, stuff from Mars and the aliens that have been talking. No, I'm kidding. But we've tried to scour the planet for the best techniques. So the second score is a long-term happiness score. Now, what this measures, pay attention, what this measures is the likelihood that your relationship will last 10 years or more happily. Happily is the key word, because some relationships last 30 years, but you're miserable and you're constantly fighting. And what we have a different way to measure that, and that's the karmic glue and the ancient methods, right? That measures the durability. But just because you're durable doesn't mean you are long-term happy, right? These are nuances we have to look at. So their long-term score also very positive. So these two factors alone, just these two things combined, indicate that there's a very high likelihood that they'll be very compatible and have long-term happiness. Great. That still doesn't give us the details, right? So if you want to get into details, now we can start digging further. And one thing I notice, you're always going to want to keep a watchful eye for stuff that's either super good or super absent. Now, in this case, there's nothing absent. Everything looks strong, except one area. You see? Karmic glue is fairly low, but with such great compatibility, you don't care. That's actually good. There's no compulsion in this couple. It's just pure love and compatibility. But what is very low is the total sizzle. Sizzle, if you recall, measures sexual compatibility. And now what we measure is two types: the raw chemistry, which is when you first meet, those first 6 months, 12 months, that kind of raw chemistry between you when you first come together, how your bodies fit, how your chemicals, your pheromones interact, all that. Okay. The second measure is long term, do those pheromones, dry off, evaporate, or do they stay? Right. And so overall, and then the average is the combination of those two. We have a poor score. Even the raw chemistry at best is below average, which tells me this: sexuality was not an important part of this relationship. You get it? For some couples, it is supremely important, not for this couple. And as we know from history, right, hindsight is 2020, they were together for a long time, supremely happy, but likely not much of a sexual life, which makes perfect sense if you are a spiritual couple, which they were. They were devoutly Christian, and God bless them. That was not a preeminent part of the relationship. What was a preeminent part, which we can look at in the What Am I to You section, is we look at the highest number, which is house 3 and house 11. So the highest number is house 11, social commitments, having an active social life, having a social conscience, doing things for the society, but also having social functions, friends, networks, that kind of stuff. And of course, the third house, communication, neighbors, being a good neighbor, all of that. So those aren't like very hot and steamy things, but those are the things that seem to be of prime importance to them. Certainly family and the identity as a couple. That's the first house. We identify as a couple. Second house, our family and finances are important. And the seventh house, our love relationship. So they placed a high value on their own relationship, their own identity as a couple, like we work together, and their social commitments. Okay. Now, when we look at the next couple, you're going to see some drastic differences. Okay. And this is why I say every relationship is a fingerprint. It is unique in all the world. How you relate with your honey is different than how you would relate to anyone else, even though you're the same person. But the different partners reflect a different aspect of you. All right. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, I'll be answering questions mostly in my membership group. So come on board if you wish. Now we're going to pull up Queen Elizabeth, and we're going to pull up Prince Philip. And let's take a look at this sexy couple. And by the way, I do this with all respect. It brings me joy to see compatibility and love and people who have made it work, and people for whom a relationship has made them better people. That was not a great sentence grammatically, but you get the gist. Okay. So here are Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. Now, this is a very different thing. Queen Elizabeth in her chart has Ketu in the 7th house, which often suggests she will marry either a foreigner or someone far below her caste, or far different, either higher or lower, but usually lower caste person, but usually different nationality. Well, if you're the queen, everyone is lower than you pretty much. So that's a given. But Prince Philip was born in Greece. Okay, so that he kind of fulfills that. So that's we don't see this in the chart in Delano, because we're not looking at the individual charts. We're looking at the compatibility together. But right away, okay, so overall it's a good, right? When everything is balanced, it shows it's good. But let's break down the components. And in fact, let's go straight to the total relationship score. Look at this. What? 79% total relationship score. So again, very good compatibility. And we'll see why. I'll give you a hint. Look at that sizzle score. It's off the charts. I'm going to scroll down here. Look at this sizzle. 5-star sizzle. Okay, I'll get back to that. Long-term happiness score, 128%. What? Yeah, so the way we've made this algorithm is that we've made it, for most people, 100% will be like an amazing achievement. But there are some charts and some couples who will have even more than 100%. And the reason we built that is to show that there are exceptional charts. However, if you have a very high, let's say, long-term happiness score, but you have zeros in any of the other areas, watch out. It's not an automatically long-term relationship. It can be sabotaged. But in this case, you see there are no zeros here. And the total relationship score is also high. So this, right off the bat, is a great start. But let's take a look then at the details. So what do we have? Modern methods. All the modern techniques show that as personalities, this couple matches very well. There's a high level of karmic glue. The ancient methods show that they have durability. No deal makers to speak of, but with the previous stuff, you don't really need them. And now here is that incredible sizzle score. So let's go ahead and dig into this, since we did it for the Carters as well, and find out. Oh, and look at this. They get a green check. I think I've talked about this before. The green check mark is the best sex of your life, quote unquote. It is based on having an extremely high raw sexual chemistry score, and certain conditions have to be met. I'm not going to tell you the conditions, not right now, at least. If you ask me nicely enough, maybe I will. But so their raw score is 15.7. Look at this. Anything above 14.5 is excellent. So it is off the chart. So this suggests to me that right away there was tremendous sexual chemistry. And that may be one of the reasons that they came together. Even though one doesn't like to imagine the queen or the king um, you know, in that kind of light, it, I don't care what the tabloid, what they say officially. This reveals the truth. The chart reveals the truth. It's like that for anything, guys. Over the last few years, I've predicted elections, I've predicted other stuff, and people have, said bad words. And how can you say that this is going to happen? And then when it happens, and all I say is it's the chart, it's not me. Now, I don't always get it right. And that's why we built a software, because this software calculates thousands and thousands of different points and techniques and stuff. So, okay, maybe not tens of thousands, but definitely hundreds of different variables, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So, yeah, so thousands of variables potentially that can be missed if it's just a guy or just a girl or just a woman or just an astrologer or even two or three astrologers looking at the same chart. That's why the software helps, and it quantifies it. So now it's not me saying it, it's right there on the page. So I don't care what their press releases say. Privately, this was a very steamy couple. And it remained steamy for the remainder of their relationship. Look at this extra juice, 23 off the charts. So their average score is off the charts. This remained an extremely sexually charged relationship. Whatever their other gifts were, I mean, they had great stuff. And I'm not even going into their core connection, their friendship score, which is extremely high. They were best friends. They must have been best friends. Mutual Jupiter, Sun, all that jazz. Their soulmate score, extremely high. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff. Karmic glue high, which karmic glue can be a problem if it's high, if there's no compatibility. But if there is compatibility and you have karmic glue, then it's forget about it. It's great. So here you have two relationships with very different fingerprints, but both successful, both loving, both dear. Now, finally, let's look at their what am I to you and find out what was the emphasis of their relationship. Where's the highest? And look at this. The highest number is in the 8th house. Boom. Reiterating this idea that sexuality was highly important to them. Now, 8th house also means inheritance, other people's money. So, behind the scenes stuff. So I'm sure that ensuring the wealth of the kingdom and moving money around, behind the scenes and all that was a part of their scheming and stuff that they did. But 8th house is also sex. So there you go. This shows you. And typically it's not great to have the 8th house very highlighted, but if you have good scores in the other houses, like the 7th, the 5th, the 1st and the 2nd and the other positive bhavas, then it's fine. It just means, and you can see here, intense long-term passion relationship, short-term passion, enemies. Well, I guess is, I'm sure they had their brawls from time to time, which is why the summary isn't 5-star, right? It's not 100% their total score. So the total score measures overall. So the Carters, who had 96%, I bet you they never argued. Like, they probably rarely had a disagreement over the course of their, I mean, I'm sure everyone does, but relative to normal average couples, they rarely did. This couple probably had a few more, right? But their scores are also extremely high. So I hope this gives you an idea of the power of Pro Delano, the software, and how you can look at couples. There is also a report section, obviously, that you can read for every couple, and it'll tell you what some of the cool stuff that they have going for them and the difficult stuff. So if you're an astrologer, this is indispensable, in my opinion, if you're doing relationship charts. If you are a matchmaker, obviously, same. If you are interested in astrology and then this could be a, an interesting thing. Or you just want to find the love of your life. You can come in, get their data, and punch it in and see if it's someone you can match with. In the future, I'll be talking about how to match with people who don't have a birth time. Okay. And yeah, I'll probably put some of those in my membership page because it's very specific, and I'll have to, it's kind of boring, I guess, for the general public. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Namaste.